and here we are now virtually to talk about it. And in the same answer, you said that you were working especially in the lyrics of the new Nightwish album. And I have been thinking if maybe any idea, lyric, or whatever crossed the frontiers and have been used for the band or vice versa for Auri, something that you or Thomas think could be for Nightwish and finally is used for Auri. Something happened to this?
Well, it's kind of out of necessity when you start to work on music, especially the way we work in Auri. We work remotely. So I'm here in North Yorkshire. Thomas and Johanna are in the east of Finland. So we pass files to each other. We throw them through the ether at each other, and it's a wonderful way of working. For a lot of people, it's an uninspiring way of working. You know, a lot of people like to be in the same room jamming ideas and stuff like that. Not for us. We really like to work this way because it gives us the freedom to get more forensic on our ideas before we hand them over to our bandmates, if that makes sense. And so with lyrics, it's very, very similar. I mean, I am kind of the de facto editor of lyrics, in that I am the native English speaker, so I can sift through archaic words and the vernacular, all that kind of thing, and that's what I've done for quite a while now. But the writing of lyrics themselves, in Nighwish, it's predominantly it's Thomas who writes the lyrics in Nighwish, which I'm sure you're aware of. But I do, like Thomas, I'm very interested in words, and so I do get involved in, as I say, in the editing of words in Nighwish. Now in Auri, I write lyrics for Auri. For instance, the new song Pearl Diving, I wrote the lyrics for that. There's another piece on there called The Duty of Dust, which I wrote the lyrics for. And another piece called Light and Flood. But there's only 2 lyrics in that one. There's only some Latin, 2 words. No, actually one Latin word in that song. So I can't really say I wrote the lyrics for that one. But we all write lyrics. We all enjoy writing lyrics, and we all get excited at each other's lyric submissions.
And any of these idea lyrics cross the line between Nighwish or Auri, or no?
No, not really, not really. As I say, because I do get involved in proofreading a lot of the lyrics in Nighwish, I will make suggestions as to wording in Nighwish, but never lyrical content, as it were, and never the meaning of the song through the edits. I just look at how the words flow and how the words are. That's what I kind of do in Nighwish. But no, Nighwish. Thomas writes the lyrics, and I'll have a look at them before they go out into the world.
I remember talking with you in that occasion in Barcelona, and you mentioned talking about lyrics. Now, I remember you mentioned about the lyrics of the new Nightwish album, and a little bit about the concept of it will be very special. It's a following of Endless Forms Most Beautiful, and listening to Human Nature, I understand a lot of things of your words. Obviously, you said I can say anything, but this essence that you mentioned there about this special of continuation or very. I don't know which word use, because I know my English sucks, but
Better than mine.
I understand that your words talking about this the concept of the last Nightwish album, talking about the lyrics that you mentioned in that time.
Yeah, well, as I said, I did definitely get more involved in the lyrics. Again, just more the meter, the rhythm, and the layout of the lyrics. I was more involved with Human Nature, but again, mainly always in an editorial position. You know, as I say, we both myself and Thomas love words, and he throws them at me, and I look at them, and I just check that there's no glaring mistakes or words that are too archaic, to reach the listener. But on the whole, yeah, that's kind of what goes on.
Mm-hmm. One of the new things to comment on this second album is that you have Kai with the percussion. Tell me a little bit about the reason about it. Maybe when you were writing the songs, it's something that needs certain songs just to add more nuances.
Not really. It's just that we've spent so much time with Kai recently, and he's a dear and close friend. So we thought, hey, why don't we get Kai in? Kai can do this, and of course he's one of the greatest drummers in the world. But my old friend Frank Van Essen did the drums on the last album, but we thought we'd kind of lessen his workload, because Frank, not only is he an incredible drummer, he's a phenomenal string player. He's a beautiful violin player and viola player. I mean, when have you ever came across a drummer who plays exquisite violin and drums as well? You see, I saw your face.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. So it was a case of that. Frank did all of the strings on the new album, of course, and he always will. He's absolutely brilliant. And we thought, let's get Kai in. Plus, Kai has a different approach, and we thought it would be a breath of air, a breath of fresh air for the new album. And he did a fantastic job.
And Kai, it seems to be like a chameleon, playing with the winter sun and a style, with Nightwish, different approach. With Auri now, it's like a chameleon playing percussion drums.
Yeah, well, we kind of take, not pride, but we're all entertained in the band at the fact that there's so much eclectic skills. Everyone in the band has different and wide skills and approaches and tastes and influences in Nightwish. It's not all coming from metal, so it's all kinds of things. Like Kai is an incredible jazz drummer as well.
Yeah.
And obviously Flaw can sing any style. We all have very varied tastes in music. So yeah, it's kind of natural that we all bring different flavors all the time.
Yeah, you mentioned about the drummer playing violin, but we all know you play different and not so usual instruments like guitars, bouzouki, mandola, ukulele, pipes, low whistles, xylophone, I don't know. Do you use all of these for this record, or the most part? I say it because listening to the album, my impression is that you have the I don't know if the word is the leadership in that aspect. You're the main player in the album. Am I wrong?
Well, no, not at all. It's, I mean, my ambition is somewhere on the next tour is to play all of those instruments at the same time. That's my idea, but whether I can do that or not, no, I'm kind of like a musical supermarket in the band. It's like, oh, what kind of flavors, what kind of spices can we throw at this? And I'll generally look on one of my aisles and find something suitable or exotic enough. This room that I'm in now is full of instruments, full of all kinds of things. I've just always been interested in finding the right voices for the right music for all the time, all throughout my career.
But I can imagine in that musical universe, in Nightwish, Auri, with Floor, with Johanna, all the things that you can do or compose are unlimited. That's the something that, for example, Thomas explained me in Barcelona just a month ago, to the start of this pandemic thing, in the promo tour that they made here in Barcelona, to explain that there's no limits right now for him to compose with Floor singing, you playing these instruments, and the members that you are right now. It's an impression that I completely agree.
Well, it's an exciting position to be in, really, because I mean, sure enough, I mean, everyone has their limits, but within music, within Nightwish and within Auri, we do feel like we have massive freedom to do whatever we want. Luckily for us, we have a superb fan base as well, who tend to be uh, very open-minded, you know, in their approach to the band and our bands, and prepared to jump on our raft and flow down the river with us, no matter what we do. So we're very uninhibited with what we do, and we hope to continue with that attitude and that base for our music forever. You know, that's what we like to do.
Mhm. I would like to share my impression about the new album because I think that there is more elements to discover in each listening session. I have the time to listen a couple or three times since the people of the company sent me the promo, the MP3. Um, More and different atmospheres, the percussion, the way you guys play instruments, voices, more rich in general, and a little bit more difficult to catch all this in first listenings. Requires, in my opinion, more time. Are you agree with it?
Oh, absolutely. I've always I've always felt like that with music. You know, it's especially with music like this, especially with music that isn't designed to be digested in 3 minutes and isn't designed for radio airplay, which it isn't. It's not designed for the commercial market as such. That doesn't mean to say it isn't commercial, but it's not designed to be commercial. So with that kind of music, and this goes back, I'm sure it's the same for you, Albert, in your all your past favorite bands and your past favorite music, you can guarantee that most of it is something that needs to be deeply investigated and listened to deeply, preferably on headphones in the dark on your own. That approach to listening to music gives you a much more satisfying experience because it becomes more personal.
That's one of the things that I experimented with Nightwish, for example. As I said last time we talked, I'm following the band since the beginning, since the second album, and every time I listen to the songs, discover new things. For example, the song that the greatest show on earth.
Oh yeah.
First time I listened this song, I thought, what's this? But
Yeah, yeah.
this song, I don't like it, and now I can guarantee it's one of my favorites.
Well, there we are. So you've just proved the point. That is proof, isn't it? That's how it works. I mean, so much stuff has happened to me in the past where I've one of my favorite bands has released an album, and I've thought, oh no, 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 definitely not. No, I don't.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, it's like, this is the best album ever. So it does. It requires time and effort, like all art. Really, all art requires a bit of personal study. And that's definitely applying to both Auri and Nightwish, especially the new Auri album.
Mhm. Another aspect I think remarkable is the voices. Johanna are great, but there is more to discover. For example, your voice in different aspects. And we can talk a little bit about your voice, but in the chorus and even lead vocalist, you have a lot of work in the last months with your voice.
Yeah, I have. But as I've said before, somebody's got to do it. And luckily for me, I have a wonderful musical family who encourage their brother to howl his lungs out at every opportunity. And that's I was a very reluctant singer, but when you've got the influence of your friends saying you've got to do this, you have to do it, your voice will really suit it. It kind of gave me more confidence, because I was very, as I say, I was very reluctant to start singing, especially in Nightwish. But it's a different color, and it's a different atmosphere, and they've convinced me that it works, so I'm convinced that it now works. And that's it really. It's been something that's had to be done. Now, of course, not for 1 second would I attempt to replace Marco, because he's irreplaceable. You know, he's one of the best rock singers in the world. But what I can do is sing the parts in my own way, and that's all I can do. And try to get a bit of the flavour of the original parts. But again, I've got the support of the mighty Flaw as well. So all's well, you know. Plus, a lot of the fans can see past characters. They can see past um, personalities and the past and all that stuff, and appreciate the music for what it truly is, and adjust themselves to it, which is really lovely. And I've had lots of lovely messages from fans saying that they appreciate me singing those. There's always lots of fans who say it's the worst thing ever, and Tarja should come back to the band. So you've just got to plow on and be true to yourself, and most of all, be true to the fantastic music that's out there.
It's not new that you're singing, but as you mentioned, a lot of fans are discovering right now with your vocal in Human Nature. For example, I'm sure a lot of people discover you with Harvest. Great song, but discover you with Harvest. And I have something funny with this song, because I was listening when the album released, and a friend, what are you listening? Nighwish, come on, Nighwish. Where is the female singer?
Well, exactly. But there should be no rules. There should be no rules in this. You know, that we try to be as adventurous as possible. I think the last two albums, the last three albums, have been very progressive in its direction, in its experimentation. And as I say, luckily enough for us, we have such a body of fans who seem to understand that our direction isn't static, and that we do want to do new things, and they seem to love it. You know, the vast majority of them. Sure enough, a lot of fans would like it to sound like it did in 1998 or 99, but you can't do that. You can't do that as a musician and as an artist. You can't. You've got to keep the essence of the spark from that period. You've got to keep that, but that's naturally going to be there. It's always going to be there. So yeah, but I know what you mean. It's like, well, hang on a minute. Shouldn't this be the woman singer? Shouldn't this be Flaw? Hard luck. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. That doesn't for 1 second detract from Flaw. In fact, in all objectivity, to be objective about it, I think it's nice to mix things up and have different styles, all within the sphere of as I say, the sphere of the essence of the band. But it makes for an interesting listen.
And do you feel comfortable, because you said that your bandmates encourage you to sing, but it's something you're maybe, I don't know. You feel comfortable to singing more in the recordings and now live?
Well, the last album was very harmony vocal heavy. You know, we were doing a lot of 3-part harmonies on Human Nature, and that went down really well with the fans. And critically, people loved that sound. It was a new sound for Nightwish. Well, it had been developing over years, but it reached its peak on Human Nature, and I'm really proud of those harmony vocals on there. The combination of those three voices, the different styles, I thought was really unique. So yeah, we just need to continue exploring with that. You know, I mean, if it's just me and Flaw doing the backing vocals, then so be it. But who knows? We might be able to involve other members at some point, and everything's open to debate and experiment.
I have to say, when the album released, I thought, okay, I don't want to write the review of the album on my website. One of the people who are writing for our website, it's a singer, female singer in a local band here. Do you want to write the review of New Nightwish album? Okay, and their punctuation is 10 to 10. And one of the things that she explained to me is about the vocals.
Right.
It's about the vocals.
Wonderful.
Returning to the Auri album, one of the songs that surprised me and enjoy more is Light and Flood. 7 minutes with mostly no voices. What can you what can you tell me about this song? Now we are talking about voices and a song with no voices, mainly.
Well, Light and Flood is the song that I said that I did the lyrics for, which is one word, Lumine,
Yeah.
which is light of light. Um, that particular song is a good example as to how Auri works and how we don't operate with any egos in the band or anything like that. We all work for the best of the music. We all work to get the music into its right position as far as we can see it. Light and Flood is the only song I think on the album that I'm prepared to describe its origin, its influence, because we're all very much of the idea that to describe lyrics, to describe songs, ruins it for the listener. You know, it ruins their own experience of the song if you tell them too much about it. Like pearl diving is a metaphor, but that's as far as I'm prepared to go with that one. And it's the same with the rest of the album. It's you've got to make up your own mind as to what it means, and that's part of the fun of being a listener and of being a fan. And I know this more than anybody. But with Light and Flood, that came from an experience I had. We have not far from my house, we have a floodplain, which is a massive field that takes any excess water from the river. When the river rises, it floods the whole field. And early one morning, I was driving back and I pulled the car over, and it was a misty, heavy, foggy morning. And the sun was just rising. And the whole of the field was flooded, but it was flooded as far as I could see. And I got out the car and I walked down the bridge and I stood on a mound that was above water level. And I turned around and the whole of the bridge had disappeared in the fog, and the car had disappeared in the fog. And I was stood there solitary, looking out on what all of a sudden turned into like a primeval landscape. It was almost as if the 21st century had disappeared and I was back millions and millions of years ago, and there were dragonflies flitting around, which you can hear in one of the violin parts. And it was very it was extraordinary. It was such a strong effect, and it had such an effect on me that I instantly came back and started to write that piece. And what I mean by there being no ego in Auri is that I sent the piece to Thomas and Johanna in demo form, and I said, "What should we do with what should we?" And they both of them went, "Nothing needs to be done to this. It's complete. It needs nothing doing to it." And my dear old friend Thomas actually said that that piece fired the title of another piece on the album, which is called which track was it? What is it? I've gone completely blank. Oh, it takes me places. Yeah, it takes me places. Yeah, that the Light and Flood, the piece that I put together as the demo. He said, "Oh, it really takes me places," and that fired the title of another piece. And again, that's how Auri works. We just inspire each other to move forward. So yeah, Light and Flood. What you hear there is effectively what I sent out there as the demo. But Thomas put some divine piano on it, and of course, Johanna put some sublime wordless vocals on it as well, which certainly enhanced the piece. But yeah, that's Light and Flood. I conceived it as a piece for string quintet and acoustic guitars primarily, but then it got Auri-fied and came out as what you hear now.
Mm. It's an special song in my opinion. It touches me a little bit. And another one is for example, the long walk. Also, it touched me. Sounds like I don't know, an anthem, more or less.
Yeah.
This vibe.
Long Walk again is an interesting song because of the way we approach that as well. Because Thomas and Johanna described it to me, and I wasn't really familiar with its source material, but I realized that it needed to sound really oppressive, you know, especially the end section, which is a long and plodding, demoralizing walk. And that's when I thought, oh, maybe we need some really heavy, violent guitars over that end section. So I put some really heavy dropped electric guitars on it, power chords, and that against Thomas's tinkling little arpeggios and her light vocals, we got really excited about that effect.
And it removes of your seat because it suddenly boom. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do, because it's so kind of sleepy as it drifts along, and then all of a sudden these massive hits come in, and it's like, what is that? But it's supposed to symbolize the danger and the oppressiveness of the long walk, I think.
Mm-hmm. Talking about this second album, and one of the things that I thought is about talking about the metal scene that usually people say are very conservative, and people always know that their band playing always more or less the same album. You mentioned a lot of people want, for example, to touch the Come Back to Nightwish, something like this kind of things. These kind of albums, Auri and MacDuck, in my opinion, the audience that know about the album and show interest about the album is people from the metal scene, and
Yeah.
in a very little touch people outside the metal scene, and it gives me hope that people are not so conservative and so closed-minded about it, because is promoted mainly in metal media, and it's people of metal who show interest for this kind of releases, and I think we can agree that it's not especially metal.
No, well said, Albert, because that's the way I feel about it. I feel, and I have done in the last 12 years of being involved with Nightwish, my discovery has been that the metal audience is the most open-minded of music fans in the world, as far as I've experienced.
But usually, sorry, but usually people don't think in that way. Metal
Yeah,
scene is very conservative.
well,
People.
but I know exactly where you're coming from, and sure enough, there are conservatives, heavy conservatives in every genre of music, probably apart from pop, but they're all there. But in my experience, I suppose because of the nature of Nightwish music and the nature of Nightwish's profile in the metal scene, it seems to me that it's a lot more eclectic. The attitude of the fans is much more open. For instance, a few years ago when we did the first Auri album, I was talking to a lady from Italy, a journalist from Italy, and we were talking about this, how open-minded the some in the metal scene are. I mean, obviously there are a lot of conservatives in there who we have experience of some really terrible conservatives in the metal scene. But what I'm saying is, on the whole, most people in the metal scene are open-minded, but there are some terribly closed-minded ones as well, and I've seen them.
I guess you have a lot of to explain something happening on all these world tours.
yeah, we have seen people try to analyze Nightwish as to how metal Nightwish is, or how we're blah 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 blah, and it's really funny. It's really really funny. But they are out there, those conservatives. They're all there. But this lady from Italy, she said to me, "Oh yeah," I said, "So what kind of stuff have you been listening to lately?" And she went, "Well, I really love Cradle of Filth." And I went, "All right, okay." And she went, "But I love Ed Sheeran as well." So there we are. That's kind of it for me. She represented the spirit of what I feel in metal, in the metal scene, that you can like Ed Sheeran and Cradle of Filth at the same time. You can like Cannibal Corpse and Celine Dion.
Cannibal Corpse.
You can. And anyway, I'm proof. I like Cannibal Corpse, but I don't like Celine Dion.
Okay.
Right, she's a good friend of mine, Celine. We have never met her. Anyway, go on.
Okay. I remember you explained that you have contract or the intention to do 2 albums with Auri. I guess there will be more.
There are definitely going to be more. We don't know what the situation is going to be, but at the moment we are prepared to do at least 27 albums. That's our plan. 27 albums, one every 3 years. So yeah, work that out.
Okay, we have Auri for time.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you see, we love it so much. We love working on Auri because it started as a labour of love for us. It started as 3 friends making music and throwing all caution to the wind, just doing exactly what we wanted to do. And the fact that we've been able to drag some unsuspecting victims along with us has been fabulous. We've had such a wonderful response to it. So we do. We do intend to do a lot more.
And maybe that's the reason, because you are not thinking, or maybe you don't release solo albums because Auri, it's fulfill you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same for all of us. All 3 of us felt the same way. So yeah, I don't have any plans to do any solo music at all. However, that doesn't mean that I won't do any solo music again. If I happen to come across some music in myself that needs to be expressed just through me and wouldn't have a place in Auri and wouldn't work in Auri, then fine, I'll do it. But at the moment, all 3 of us are very fulfilled by Auri. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember you mentioned about touring in special places. I remember you mentioned Gaudí. You spent
yeah.
Yeah, that you spent. I remember you spent a couple of days one summer in 2000, in the same year, in 2018, in Barcelona.
That's right. I remember, Albert, you saying to me that you would get us the show and organise it all in the Gaudi building, and that you'll arrange everything.
Yeah, if it's have to be done, no problem.
Perfect.
But now with the damn beers, I guess it's something will happen someday in the future. But
indeed, yeah, we hope to Auri in maybe the end of 2023, beginning of 24, something like that, because we have such a backlog of commitments now because of apparently there's been some kind of pandemic or something. Somebody's been.
See, I heard something about it.
Yeah, something about a cough or something. I'm not sure, but we have a massive backlog of cancellations and commitments. So we did intend to go out next year with Auri, which would have been fabulous, but no, it's not going to happen. But yeah, we do intend to do the, as I said to you last time, castles and cathedrals and lovely exotic buildings, or the pyramids and etc.
Maybe not in Gaudi building, but I'm thinking in some castle in the middle of the Pyrenees. Very good.
That sounds nice. That sounds nice. Yeah, something like that. But we do intend to do a short tour. A big band, though. We're going to have a big band. There's going to be about 7 or 8 of us. Well, there has to be to pull this kind of music off live. So we're really looking forward to doing it.
And maybe you. Sorry.
Oh, go on, carry on.
No, and just joking about that. Maybe you can include some trick as a musician in the show.
Oh yeah, well I did try to saw Floor in half recently, and she wasn't happy about that. So I've that kind of thing.
Are you still interested in magic, all these kind of
Yeah,
things?
but well, magic's been with me since I was a kid. You know, since my dad first vanished a coin, I've always been interested in it. But it's strictly for friends only, and I do it for all my friends. And when out on tour, it's a fantastic hobby to have because I've got lots of nice hotel room mirrors that I can practice in front of.
And talking about life situations, now that you have the chance to play 3 shows, I think, with Nighwish in lucky people in Finland, how do you feel returning to the live activity only for 3 shows? But how do you feel? Great, yeah.
It was indescribable. I mean, not only is it wonderful to actually leave this prison that I've been in for 18 months, but to be back out there with my lovely friends playing this music in front of 30,000 lovely friends who went ballistic. You know, it was almost like they had just been released from prison. They had just,
Yeah.
it was like the audience had just been reborn. It's like they'd been born again. And the response and the reaction was just wonderful. The warm-up show that we did a warm-up show as a Russian Nightwish tribute act.
Yeah.
Nevsky and the Prospects, and that was hard to describe what it was like, but it was uplifting and joyous, and it was just beautiful. So that we've got one more to do. We've got one more to do before, hopefully, we go out on the European tour in November. But we've got one show in Germany, Wacken, which is a scaled down version of Wacken. So we're doing that. Up to now, I mean, fingers crossed. But again, it all depends, doesn't it?
I have to say, I'm ready to travel to your show on August 14th in Helsinki.
Ah,
But
right.
finally, we all know what happened.
Yeah, yeah, we do, unfortunately. But we're really desperate to get the momentum going again. You know, it's not. It was really frustrating to do those 3 shows. Really frustrating, and then we're all like, oh right, well, when do we get back together again? Well, who knows? Awful position for us to be in, because we're very in Nightwish, we are very social animals with each other. We love to be out with each other. We love to play with each other, and we're not the kind of band who has separate dressing rooms. You know, we actually like being around each other and having fun. So it was really difficult for us. But let's hope that the European tour happens. I mean, it's November. You would think that by then this should have drifted into the past.
We are thinking in that way during the last 2 years, maybe in 3 months, maybe in 4 months, maybe in 6 months.
I know. It is so annoying, so irritating. But especially as the science seems to be in favour of being pragmatic about the whole thing, about being realistic about the whole thing. You know, the fact that the virus is now endemic, and we've got to learn to live with it. You know, like we have with all other viruses. But of course, a lot of people don't want that. But we're going to have to accept it at some point. I'm just hoping the acceptance is going to come sometime within the next couple of months, so that we can save our European tour. I mean, we're pretty good over in the UK at the moment. You know, everything's open now, and there's some pretty big festivals happening, massive ones. And again, no social distance, none of it. I think the British are starting to realise that we can't live like this anymore. We can't.
Bloodstock happened a few days ago.
Yeah, but it was reduced. It was reduced capacity. Download did something similar, but now I think we've got Reading and Leeds, which are big ones, 80,000 people, and they are happening. So it's really encouraging to see that going on. And now we've got, you know, you go out to the supermarkets, and it's almost like nothing's happened. You know, it's starting to get back to normal.
I don't know what's happening in here in our case in Catalonia or Spain, because Just 40 minutes. Oh, I'm sure you have more lots of interviews because I'm aware now that we were talking during 40 minutes. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, but it's been a good talk. I've really enjoyed it, so no problem. And don't worry, we've still got another 10 minutes. It's my next not until 11.
Okay, I hope to see you in playing live in next autumn because I'm planning to travel again. I don't know if happened the same with because I have the hope to see you playing live this August, but maybe possibly I'm wrong. But I read something in from Kai on Facebook because maybe something is lost in the translation because I remember that she writes it in Finnish and the translation to English and translation to my well,
Yeah,
that you were in some kind of the promoter of the date in Helsinki or something like that. You organized that the band itself.
yeah, yes, yes, that's true. I mean, that of course it's very risky when you do that. It's
Yeah.
it's not an easy position to place yourself in, especially at this time. But again, as you say, it's like months ago. It was like, yeah, maybe the next month, maybe the next month, maybe the next month. Yeah, we can maybe do it. And we were trapped in that. So we had to make the proper decision. And now but things have been moved and nothing's really cancelled. Everything's just been postponed, which feels nice. It feels nice that that they're just postponements, and they will happen. We will be firing on all four cylinders, as they say, any minute now. Once we get the European tour started, I think that'll be it. I think we'll be out for a good year and a half.
And maybe for improving something of the production, something that in these three shows doesn't work or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's been a nightmare, really. I mean, it's been okay for us in respect of making the new Auri album. It was a silver lining to the dreadful COVID cloud. But for the rest of our wonderful friends in the band, our crew, it's been really, really difficult. It's been difficult for crews all over the world, but we're close to our crew, and it was awful for them to see the work just slipping away and vanishing, and everything being up in the air, nothing guaranteed. But as I say, I'm an optimist. I'm hopeful that any time now, definitely before November, this will be finished and we'll be out with all our lovely fans again.
Hopefully, because virtual show was great, but I prefer to see you in just in front of me.
Of course, and so do we. So do we.
Okay, Troy. Thanks for your time, for your patience, and I hope to see you playing live in any date in Europe or maybe in Catalonia or Spain. But right now, there's no date. Maybe in the future.
Lovely to speak to you, Albert. And listen, I'll see you down the road soon, I hope.
Okay. Thanks for your time. All the best for the band. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.